Okay, so this is the final setup that I've come to for my clock wheel cutting. So we've got the divider, which has been shown running in my other video. I've realised that on this Cowells wheel and pinion cutter, this edge just fouls this pulley here, and considering we're not using the lathe, what I've been able to do basically is it's only a grub screw, and that can just literally be lifted to one side just to give you a little bit more room. So if you wonder why everything looks a bit odd there, it's just been disengaged and pushed to one side. Just gives a little bit more clearance between here when we traverse the cutter. Okay, so that's where we're up to. I'm going to give this a go now. So in terms of the wheel and pinion cutter, this was a little bit tricky. So Cowells comes with a collet adapter. In fact, I'll just grab one of those. Here's the collet adapter, and the collet adapter can screw onto the thread there. And I even made myself, in fact it's here, I made myself a little wheel holder, and there it is, all still mounted up in the collet. The problem with that is that it was too long, so the whole lot stuck out too far, and there wasn't just enough travel on the cross slide basically to push it to the center point. It was sticking out too far beyond center, so I was really upset about that, because I spent quite a lot of time messing around getting this set up ready, and then found that I couldn't do it. So I admit here that I've bought a tool from Cowells. This is their Zero Morse taper wheel cutter holder. So this is a PP Thornton cutter, which tend to come with a 7mm bore. So basically that's come in, and I've made myself a little drawbar that's just pulling that in from the back, because I appreciate that that isn't threaded on here, but it is being pulled in from the back. Okay, so I think we're pretty much sorted and ready to give this a go. I'm a little bit nervous. I've been using some, basically this is a piece of scrap aluminium that I've turned down, faced off the front, and then super glued my brass wheel and turned it down to size. So I've done that off camera. In my first attempt though, the brass wheel fell off the arbor. I think I'm using old super glue, so if that happens on this is only a test piece. I've not drilled a hole in the center or anything like I normally would. So we're just going to give this a go now. Hopefully it won't fall off. I'm going to try and hold it in the tailstock. But just first thing I'm trying to do now is hold the, or is just center, sorry, the cutter. So basically I've centered that now with the, just literally with my rack of the eye to the center of that very tip of the center in the tailstock. So hopefully that now should be central. Next thing is I'm going to raise this up. I'm going to cut black all the edge of this disc, and I'm going to take some first cuts, and then I'm going to move on to my second one, take some cuts, and keep going back and forward between those two, dropping the depth of my cut each time until I can see a faint slither of back between them. At that point I've got the right depth, and I'm just going to go and cut the rest at full depth. So let's see how it goes. Here we go. So I've just paused the video then because a couple of things happened. So first of all, I hadn't tightened the drawbar up tight enough on this holder, and therefore that was spinning. So I've tightened that up now and had to recenter it. So that isn't ideal, but I know not to do that again. The second thing that also happened, first time I've used this pinion cutter, and basically the gearing wasn't tight enough in the back, so I've just tightened all that up. So here we go, second attempt. Right, so I'm at a point now where I'm just going to pull this off, in fact, and knock this off. So I'm at a point now where you can see, in fact I don't think it's picking up, but there's a slither of black on the top of that tooth now, so I'm at the appropriate depth of cut. A couple of things I would say is that I'm reasonably happy. I'm cutting a wheel and I'm fairly confident this should work, although I shouldn't have said that now. But it's doing the job, and I also think the other problem is that I'm cutting into aluminium. This is a tried and trusted method using these aluminium black plates, but actually I know a lot of people nowadays use back plates of plastic, which is much softer to go through, so that might be a better next step. So I'm going to hopefully hook the camera back up, put it in fast forward and go through the rest of the wheel, fingers crossed.